Welcome back. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of state quarters, a colorful collection that celebrates every corner of America. From unique designs to rare additions, these quarters are more than just change. They're pieces of history you can hold. Stick around to find out which ones could be worth much more than 25 cents. Now, here's a coin that might seem all too familiar. A 2005 California state quarter. Yes, just one of the 50 state quarters that millions of Americans used in their change, their coin jars, and their wallets. It's circulated. It's worn. Probably passed through dozens of hands. Maybe even yours for years without a second glance. But let me tell you something. This one? It holds more secrets than meets the eye, and some of those secrets have been worth 5 figures and up. Buckle in. Let's start with what you see. On the reverse side, you've got naturalist John Muir, the father of the national parks, standing in front of the breathtaking Yosemite Valley. Above him, a soaring California condor, wings stretched wide. And below, the words, California 1850, the year California became a state. Now, this coin was part of the United States Mint's wildly popular 50 State Quarters program, launched between 1999 and 2008. By 2005, collectors were in a frenzy. People weren't just saving these. They were hunting for errors, rare strikes, and anything unusual. And that's where things get very exciting. Because even though over 520 million California quarters were minted, 500 million coins, not all of them were created equal. And the moment you find one with a true mint error, even in circulated condition like this one, that's when we start talking shockingly high values. Let's dive into what to look for, because the devil is in the details. One of the most famous and valuable California state quarter errors is the extra leaf variety, sometimes referred to as the extra tree or extra branch error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin had a small flaw or damage, and it creates what looks like an extra branch near the tree line in the background, just behind John Muir. Some collectors have found these and, after verification, sold them for $500 to $1,500, and that's in circulated condition. But wait, there's more. One of the most sought-after and rare errors in state quarters is the double die obverse. Imagine the words, "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," showing a doubled shadowed effect. It's subtle, easy to miss. But to collectors and grading companies, this kind of flaw is worth hundreds or even thousands. There are examples from the State Quarter series that have sold for over $5,000, and yes, some have been found in pocket change. But perhaps the most mind-blowing error of all? The missing clad layer. California quarters were minted on standard clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel. But sometimes, during minting, one of those outer layers doesn't get bonded correctly. The result? A quarter that appears almost solid copper on one side. If your 2005 quarter looks oddly red or brown on the obverse or reverse, not just dirty, but truly copper-colored, then stop everything. You may have a missing clad layer error, and those coins have been known to fetch $2,500 to $7,500. Depending on the severity and condition. Even crazier, some rare double-denomination errors have occurred. Imagine a California quarter that was struck over a dime plancher. Yes, it happens. These bizarre one-in-a-million mistakes can go for $10,000 or more, especially if professionally authenticated. Now here's a coin that doesn't just tell a story, it sings one. You're holding a 2013 Fort McHenry State Quarter, And even though it might look like a regular 25-cent piece to most folks, this coin has a powerful voice behind it. Because this isn't just any place on the back of a quarter. Fort McHenry is where America's national anthem was born. And the coin in your hand? If it hides the right secret, it could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more. Let's get into it. This coin is part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, a 56-coin series released between 2010 and 2021. Each coin highlights a national park or historic site, and this one, it honors the legendary Fort McHenry, located in Baltimore, Maryland. In 1814, during the War of 1812, British ships bombarded the fort for 25 straight hours, and when the smoke cleared, the American flag was still flying. That sight inspired Francis Scott Key to write The Star-Spangled Banner, a moment in history, captured forever in a single coin. Now take a look at the reverse, the back. There it is, the flag flying high, fireworks exploding in the background. The fort, walls standing proud. It's a celebration of American resilience and patriotism, a stunning design, minted in both Philadelphia and Denver that year, and if your coin has a P mint mark, it came from the Philadelphia Mint. But here's the twist. While over 300 million Fort McHenry quarters were produced, only a tiny handful left the mint with errors. And those are the coins that fetch unbelievable prices. You wouldn't expect a 2013 coin to be worth anything more than face value, right? But in the right condition, with the right flaw, you could be looking at $2,000, $10,000, or more. Let's talk errors. One of the most thrilling possibilities is a double die reverse, where the image on the back of the coin is struck twice slightly out of alignment. This can make the fireworks, lettering, or fort walls appear doubled or blurry. If you spot that, especially with good detail still showing on a circulated coin, it could easily bring in $300 to $200, depending on severity and confirmation. Then, there's the clad layer error. These coins are made with a copper core and 2 outer layers of nickel. But when one layer is missing or improperly bonded, one side of the coin can appear copper-toned, like a penny. This is rare, dramatic, and wildly collectible. Missing clad layer Fort McHenry quarters have shown up before, and if yours is real, it could land you $5,000 to $8,500, possibly more. Another wild one? The off-center strike. This is where the coin wasn't lined up properly in the press. You might see part of the image missing, with a crescent of blank metal on one edge. As long as the date is visible, this error could sell for $250 to $1,000, even more if it's dramatically off-center. But let's say your coin looks normal. No obvious error. It still could be valuable, if it's in high condition. Graded examples of Fort McHenry quarters with a perfect MS-67 or MS-68 score can go for $100 to $500 depending on demand, and whether it's a P or D mint. Now remember, that's for coins with sharp detail, brilliant luster, and no scratches. Yours is in good circulated condition, so it might not reach those heights. But if it's clean, evenly toned, and eye-catching, it's still worth way, more than face value to the right collector looking to complete a perfect set. And let's not forget the deeper meaning. This isn't just a coin with fireworks and a flag. This is a piece of metal that reminds us of why the flag still waves. Every time someone picks up a Fort McHenry quarter, they're holding a tiny piece of the story behind our national anthem. And in a world full of digital wallets and plastic cards, that little physical link to history? That's priceless. So, take one more look at your coin. Flip it over. Run your fingers across the rim. Because if there's even the slightest error hiding in that metal, a double strike, a missing layer, a rim crack, you could be staring at a payday that turns heads in any auction house. And the next coin we're about to explore? Let's just say, it might seem plain, but inside, it holds one of the most shocking six-figure surprises ever to come out of a regular pocket. Don't go anywhere. This story is just getting louder. Now, this next coin? It might just stop you in your tracks, because it's not just a coin. It's a tribute. A heartfelt, deeply emotional tribute to sacrifice, remembrance, and one of the most honored places in all of the Pacific. We're talking about the 2019 American Memorial Park Quarter, part of the America the Beautiful series. And even though yours is in circulated condition, don't let that fool you. There's something special about this one. In fact, some versions of this coin have left collectors in utter disbelief when they realized what they'd stumbled onto. Let's start with the design. On the reverse, you see a young woman facing the flag circle at American Memorial Park in Saipan, Northern Mariana Islands. She's in quiet reflection, honoring the lives lost in World War II. Around her, 50 flags rise into the sky, each one representing a U.S. state or territory. It's a hauntingly beautiful image, one filled with memory, with respect, with pride. And when you realize the island was once the site of some of the fiercest battles in the Pacific theater, it hits differently. This isn't just metal. It's a story, one carved into every line of the coin. Now let's talk numbers, because while over 270 million of these quarters were struck in Philadelphia and Denver combined, not all of them came out right. And that's where things get exciting. You've got a circulated coin. It's been in pockets, maybe in a drawer. It has that worn, real-world look. But if you've got the right kind of error hiding in plain sight, that's when this humble quarter turns into a collector's dream. Take the double die reverse, for instance. It's a rare but powerful error where the image is struck slightly twice, causing doubling in the details. Sometimes it shows up in the flagpoles, the lettering, or even in the folds of the girl's dress. If this doubling is present and verified, even on a circulated coin, that can fetch $500 to $2,000, depending on severity and visibility. But there's more. The extra cactus leaf error is one that's been rumored and spotted across various state quarters, including this one. It's caused by die damage that creates an odd extra bump or shape in the design. These unusual extra features make error hunters go wild. Coins with verified die chips or retained cud breaks in the image or rim have sold for $250 to $1,500, especially when the flaw is dramatic enough to be spotted with the naked eye. And then we get into the really wild stuff. The missing clad layer error. Yes, that one again. When a coin is struck without one of its outer nickel layers, revealing a bright copper face on one side, they stand out immediately. And even in circulated condition, these coins are grabbing $5,000, $7,500, even $10,000 or more, depending on the visibility and which side it appears on. Or how about the wrong plancher error? Imagine your quarter struck not on a quarter blank, but on a dime blank, or even a foreign coin. These are rare, but not unheard of for 2019 issues. One verified example could soar to $15,000 to $25,000, especially if the details are crisp and the coin is authenticated. Now, let's pull back for a moment. Even if your coin is completely normal, with no errors, no special plancher, no misstrike, it still carries significance. Why? Because this quarter was part of a historic series that honors our national parks and historic sites, and because it speaks to memory. to the heroes of World War II, to sacrifice and quiet reflection. For many older collectors, this coin hits home. It's not just part of a set. It represents a part of their past, their family, or their service. And even in good circulated condition, collectors looking to build full America the beautiful sets will gladly pay $1 to $5 just to grab a cleaner example of this specific issue. Higher grade examples certified at MS-67 or MS-68. Now you're talking $200 to $800, and sometimes even more if demand spikes. Here we go. This one is a real sleeper hit. The 2015 Blue Ridge Parkway quarter might not scream rare at first glance. It looks clean, modern, and familiar. Just another part of the America the Beautiful series. But what you might not know is that this quarter has some of the most striking design features and jaw-dropping error varieties ever seen in a state quarter. And believe me, when you hear the insane values collectors have paid for the rarest examples of this coin, you'll never look at your change the same way again. Let's start with the artwork, because this one's a showstopper. The reverse of the 2015 Blue Ridge Parkway quarter shows the famous Lynn Cove Viaduct, a sweeping concrete bridge curving gently along the mountainside in North Carolina. The scene is set in the fall, trees bursting with leaves, the road snaking through the high country. And in the foreground, a single blooming rhododendron flower, representing the natural beauty of the Appalachian Mountains. It's elegant, dramatic, and, honestly, one of the most detailed, dynamic designs in the whole 56 coin America, the Beautiful series. Now, the Mint released these with both Philadelphia, P, and Denver, D, mint marks, plus a special San Francisco proof version, but yours is the standard issue, circulated. Still, that doesn't mean ordinary, not at all, because now we get to the juicy part, the part that gets collectors buzzing, dealers watching, and values skyrocketing. Mint errors, and let me tell you, 2015 was loaded with them. First, let's talk about doubled dies. Some of the Blue Ridge Parkway quarters were struck with dies that weren't properly aligned, creating slight but visible doubling in the words Blue Ridge Parkway, or E pluribus unum. In even lightly circulated condition, one of these doubled die errors can go for $250 to $2,000, depending on the clarity of the doubling. But here's where things go from interesting to absolutely insane. There are confirmed examples of this coin with missing clad layer errors, where one side of the coin lacks the outer nickel layer, revealing a bright, reddish copper surface. These are incredibly rare. And when collectors spot one, the bidding war is on. One verified specimen went for $12,000 at auction, and if the error is clean and dramatic enough, that number can easily jump into the $15,000 to $18,000 range. And then, the off-metal strikes, the ultimate holy grail for modern quarters. These are coins accidentally struck on the wrong planchet. A dime planchet, a foreign coin blank, or even a steel core experimental metal from testing. One misstruck Blue Ridge Parkway quarter was confirmed to have been minted on a nickel blank and sold for over $20,000. Think about that. What looks like an ordinary 25-cent piece turning into someone's car payment, or even their down payment on a house. There are also documented strike-through errors on this design, where debris or grease partially blocks the die, leaving strange ghostly shadows or missing parts of the image. These quirky coins can demand $500 to $2,500, depending on the size and visibility of the error. And here's something almost no one talks about: collector-grade uncirculated coins. If your 2015 Blue Ridge Parkway quarter is still in sharp condition, strong, rims, no major scratches, full details on the flower and bridge, It could grade MS-66 or higher. And those? They're not cheap. MS-67 examples have sold for $300 to $800, and MS-68s? Try $100-200 or more, especially when certified by PCGS or NGC with full luster. Now, let's talk about why this particular coin holds such emotional value, especially to older collectors. The Blue Ridge Parkway isn't just a road, it's a lifeline through the mountains, a symbol of America's scenic beauty, resilience, and New Deal-era construction. For generations, families have taken summer drives through those mountain curves. Veterans, retirees, road trippers, they all have memories tied to this place. That makes this coin a lot more than metal. It's nostalgia in your hand, and that makes it powerful, even beyond the price tag. So, don't underestimate that 2015 Blue Ridge Parkway quarter sitting in your drawer or rattling in your cup holder. Flip it over. Look for the mint mark. Check for any strange markings, color shifts, or doubling in the text, because that next rare strike, that next wild error worth tens of thousands of dollars, it's already out there, hiding in someone's loose change. And what's coming next? It's a coin that's been called a ghost issue, one of the lowest minted, least seen quarters of its year. Collectors didn't even realize how scarce it was, until prices exploded past $25,000. Stay tuned, because this next one could leave your jaw on the floor.